and see if anything happens with this one with time. Now this might be an unfair comparison in some ways, right? We're comparing a chemical reaction with a biological chemical reaction. So there's not only a quantitative difference here between the amounts that we use the first time and now that we'll use the second time, or between the two experiments. There's also a qualitative difference. And in this bread book, for example, all of the breads that are contained in here are yeast breads, the yeast-risen breads. And I think none of the recipes include baking soda, which is sometimes added. It's either by itself or added to yeast bread. And I think that's for the flavoring. It's a qualitative difference, because you can get bread to rise, perhaps, if you do it the right way, just as high with baking soda and baking powder, and then milk, as you can with yeast. And so there's a flavor difference and a culinary difference. It's qualitative. So there's one application that shows that they're different. We're going to try a quantitative difference here now. In contrast, we're going to put a lot of baking soda in, and even more vinegar.
Because obviously, I'm like a 2-year-old when I do science experiments, and it's like, if nothing is getting huge or blowing up, you know, it's like, yeah, whatever. I want to see some experiments. I'm getting baking soda everywhere.
That's okay.
That's good.
You have your bases covered.
Now we get to go back to the acid of the vinegar. Robbie, pH higher or lower than 7? I like the confidence.
Is that question or is it? You're right, it is lower. Acids are lower than 7, bases are higher. Oh, all right.
So Gene, see, I'm picking up people that actually know the names. Notice anything different in the balloons?
Got a lot bigger this time. The other one still isn't.
Still a lot bigger than these. A lot faster.
Now, here's another thought on conditions. These are at room temperature. We're testing these. We said the question was to see which would be better for baking bread. Are these reactions going to occur at room temperature, or only at room temperature if we were baking bread? Okay. He's nodding his head. No, that's right. We put it in the oven to bake it. Who's familiar with baking bread? What's the kind of thing? You know, you see a towel laying over bread. Is anybody familiar with baking bread at all in the process? You have to let bread rise, right? There's Moses and the unleavened bread and everything. They didn't have time to let it rise, and so we get this cool pita bread today and all this kind of thing. This yeast, we could do an experiment and see what happens if we add heat to this, and see if this produces more gas. So there's more variables that we can